أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers in Islam. In this video, I'm going to explain to you practically, as you have read it or heard it in the Twitter, a video released on the 4th or made on the 4th of February this year on the importance of observing the obligatory prayers, an issue that I have been emphasizing in my life for a very long time. My brothers, what I am after is the truth must be revealed. Then it is left for those who have the means and understanding that we lack authority. And in the absence of an authority, anything can happen. But definitely it is difficult to guide people, discipline them, and establish a way of life according to the Sunnah of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the greatest threat of the Muslim civilization, of the Muslim Ummah, and the greatest obstacle in leading us to paradise and eventually arriving at the fountain earlier than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The video is on the translated text of the Salat explanation by Uthaymeen. My brothers, let us ask ourselves, the description of prayer in Sahih Bukhari, then Sahih Muslim, then Al-Mishkat al-Masabi, that probably a lot of us are in possession of. But then do we need anybody to tell us again how to observe obligatory prayers? No. If he is to tell us that means there must be deficiencies in the explanation of as-salat in the books mentioned. My brothers, this question of as-salat began in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because there was never a time he allowed mistakes. Then followed by Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar. Probably in the time of Sayyidina Usman, there isn't much that reported. Also in the time of Ali ibn Abi Talib, I think there are 2 or 3 occasions of mistakes being corrected in his time. The first book I bought, I think it was in 1980 something, 83 or so, but I don't think it was in 1997. On the obligatory prayers was written by Albani. It was a fairly wide and a long book I bought on the Sifat Salat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Naturally, to one day disappear. I could remember sometimes again in 1999 also I bought another edition. Then also in 1988 also somewhere around that time I bought the translation, but then a small hardcover book by Hassan Salman on the common mistakes. Later on I bought the Arabic volume, about I think 500 or 800 pages. So Salat is a pillar that one sees physically, and if you know about the Salat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, naturally you will see mistakes. And then it is left on you to deliver yourself from disgrace in the hereafter by correcting, telling the brothers that they are wrong. That is the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In the second edition of the book of Albani, there were 1 or 2 mistakes, because in the first edition I bought, he did not include supplication in the first tahiyyat. In the second book, he included it. But again, said that one is supposed to send salat on the Holy Apostle in the first tahiyyat. Then in all the books, the description of Friday prayer is vague. It's not actually according to the Sunnah, because of the failure to express, to define the meaning of the word zawal, the meaning of the word ba'da, and the meaning of the word qabl in relation to the movement of the sun from east to west, and that of the shadow from west to east. That is distinctly absent in all the books I have read. I think about some years ago, bought the book, which I mentioned so many times, challenging who is that particular Taqi ad-Din, who beautifully wrote the correct way to offer a salat. Hardcover. I bought it, very expensive, from Pakistan. But when I read, it was nothing but trash. So I have been arguing that, look, the books we have in English language and what I see being exhibited or released in videos is nothing but actually innovation. It won't lead you to anywhere but hellfire. And what I see from all the Muslim countries in television, especially Friday prayers and other prayers, North Africa completely, Saudi Arabia, it's nothing but bid'ah. Wherever you go, you find bid'ah. So my argument is that, why can't we establish a book of about how many pages? 50 pages, maximum. Standard. This is the lead to paradise. The Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If you want anything other than that, that means it is not compulsory. It is not the standard. It's not the gauge. But you are allowed. For example, if you write down that for Fajr prayer, you have to recite 40 verses, at least minimum, in the first rak'ah. It doesn't mean that you will not recite 180 verses in the first rak'ah, because if you recite Surah Al-Baqarah and you determine to read the whole surah in 2 sittings, in 2 rak'ahs, that means you must recite 180 something verses in the first rak'ah. Then in the second rak'ah, the rest up to 286 verses. So these are the things, the differences that can be absent in a book, but at least the Sunnah has been established on the basics, the necessary. Then you explain also that you cannot recite the way you want to recite. That is the Sunnah. Then these are the number of verses to read: Zuhur, Asr, Maghrib, Isha prayers. And then the nawafils, how to observe them. And then the supplication, the ad-du'a, during iftitah, during ruku'u, lifting, during sujud, and everything. Then you must understand that, explain that, look, the question of reciting tasbih 3 times is wrong. So all these things are very, very important. But you hardly find that particular emphasis in any textbook translated in English language of as-salat. If you read the book of Muwatta and its sharh, it's also deficient. But if you read the classical sharhs of Dawuda, Nisa'i, and the Bukhari, you must combine all and establish the actual Sunnah, because authors are bound to jump and forget some very, very important points that are essential in making your prayers according to the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My brothers, I made effort. This is the first book I wrote down. Salat of the Holy Apostle, Gateway to Paradise. This book was released in 2004 in my country, Nigeria. I don't think 50 people read it. And I'm sure they read it, but they don't believe that this is the correct way to observe the obligatory prayers. The book contains a chapter briefly on Friday prayer. But when I wrote this book, 134 pages, I was very aware of the situation that people are not interested in reading. So I made it as precise, as short as possible. But now this book has been improved, revised. The first edition was released 2015. Probably at the same time, the book of Uthaymeen was translated in English language, 2015. It was available in Amazon. That was the fourth edition. That book is more details than any other book translated in English language. Take into consideration the minimum you require, the minimum thrust to deliver you into paradise. But unfortunately, for one reason or the other, I don't understand what Muslims feel when they see a book, especially with a drive, with a base, with a stimulant, that the book is based on the seerah and the sunnah of Umar ibn Khattab, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Umar ibn Khattab, Ibn Mas'ud, Ali ibn Abi Talib, and Abdullah ibn Umar. Even these are sequentially. Umar died first, then Ibn Mas'ud, then Ali ibn Abi Talib, then Abdullah ibn Umar. So why can there be mistakes? These Sahabas are definitely in paradise. And anybody who follows their own way of life is assured of entering paradise. And if you read the book of Al-Aji, you'll find out that there was never a difference of what the way the obligatory prayers amongst them is observed. There's no difference at all. The same thing. We lack the Arabic capacity to understand Kalam Arab. We don't read it. An Arab can tell you something tomorrow to make it today. Today he meant tomorrow. Left he meant right. Right he meant left. So the question of all these differentials in Arabic language now needs the dictionaries of either Ibn Manzur or Mufradat fi Garib al-Quran. You have to read them because there are standard descriptions of Arabic that can lead you into trouble, like Ba'da and the Qabl, Zawal, where it said that the time of Friday prayer is the time of Dhuhr prayer. You have to read a lot of books in Arabic. So what I'm saying is that there should be a standard book on obligatory prayers, the minimum page either 100 or 50. Because with that establishing the obligatory prayers according to Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there can't be anything but extremism and terrorism. You can't drive Boko Haram from Nigeria. The West should understand that there can't be peace, stability in their own place if the Muslims are there and they disgrace Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam by the time they are facing Kaaba, and ultimately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala discussing being close to him. They are disgracing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That who is he? He is nothing. That he is sent as a joker. Nothing else. So my concern is that those who are unable to understand Arabic language, probably they believe that it's only their tribe who knows, the Arabs. No, it's not a matter of white or language. No, it's a matter of what we don't see. That is faith and fear and love to tell the truth and nothing else but the truth. I find it very annoying for a Muslim to write a book or something not based on the specific instructions. If you see something wrong, you must tell it. That's why I wrote down my book. Believe me, if I had read all the books in English language that they have described as Salat of the Holy Apostle, I wouldn't have written this book. Neither would I have made effort in making editions up to the 4th. Even in my computer, there is a 5th edition. But what is the value of releasing it for you to buy? Use your wealth. Look, this question of paradise is governed by wealth. Because Allah will ask you, what favor have I done to you? Definitely He has sent you the book and also the messenger. Now He said, what favor have I done to you? To use it, to deliver yourself out of this torment and disgrace. Even spending equivalent to the skin of a dead camel. Look at how thin it is. You have to spend that, but you have the means, but you don't know. I'm not saying definitely you have to buy a book, but you must know that there are mistakes. This prayer is not a standard. Otherwise, you could have been better off. You won't be impoverished. Impoverishment is part and parcel of disgracing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, rejecting him during the obligatory prayers. So my brothers, you are being deceived. If you want perfection, at least you have to use wealth in buying Arabic books or downloading them. You must learn the Arabic language. But any book translated for obligatory prayers is deficient. When I say read a salat, reviving a salat of the Holy Apostle, Gateway to Paradise, according to the seerah of Umar ibn Khattab, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abdullah ibn Umar, definitely there is a sense that you must read it. Because what are you looking for? Is there authority above those 4 people, those 4 Sahabas? If you believe there is none, that means it's left for you. My brother, I have introduced the real thing to you. Assalamu alaikum.